Doing well and that you're ready for another great week ahead. I have yet another weekly market profile forecast for you for both the ES and NQ futures markets. So as you guys know, we are going to hop into the session profiles for ES and NQ first and foremost. Then we'll probably look at the weekly and maybe even daily candlestick charts, let you know my thoughts on those as well. And we will give you some good levels to look at and a plan for the week ahead and some major inflection points moving forward. So let us waste no more time. Let's start off with the NQ session profile first and foremost. And what I'm going to be looking at as the overnight profile develops into tomorrow morning are the following levels. First and foremost, above us, we have 11,846, which is the point of control from Friday on NQ, and we have just 30 points above that, the value area high as well as the range high from Friday. So that is going to be a very important area. You could call this a 30-point zone that if we can move and hold, we are going to be working back up into levels that we have not seen for quite some time, at least since, let's see, the last time we were up here, I'll just pop over to the weekly, was the weekly profile from September 19th, right? So it's been almost 2 months since we've been up at these price levels. So this zone between 846 and 876 is going to be numero uno that I am looking at. If we can move and hold above that, look for continued upside, very likely into, I would say, 11,900, 930-ish perhaps. And then we have some levels above that we can look at once we move over to the weekly. On the downside, you can see that our current overnight low at 11,767 is coinciding with the initial balance high from Friday at 11,760, as well as the overnight high from Thursday into Friday at 11,777. Fun number. And if we cannot hold this area, you could draw another zone. Oops, let me change my tools here. You could draw another zone between 760 and this, call it 780-ish level. And if we can't hold that as support, look for moves down into the Thursday into Friday overnight POC. That level is going to be 11,709. And if we break that, I will be looking for a move into the value area low at 689 from Friday and then 677, which is the high from Thursday on NQ. Of course, if we break that, we've got lower levels on a session profile basis at 614, 569, and then 528. And I think most importantly, if we can't hold within Friday's range, if we do get some pretty serious downside pressure and break 569, I think we are headed to 453. So keep an eye out on that naked POC at 11,453 as well. On a weekly profile basis, once again, you can see the high from last week, 876, right? And that is Friday's high, just to be clear. So a move and hold above that, I really think that we're very likely to see some pretty serious upside pressure. Most importantly, I would say 934 is one stop before that, but we are very likely to get to this 12,000 area, right? You can see that we have the weekly low from the September 5th weekly profile lining up with the value area high from the September 19th weekly profile. And we have yet another naked point of control at 12,218. So, of course, we've got some levels to work through between 12,000 and 12,2, which would be 1261, which is the value area low from the September 5th regular trading hours weekly profile, as well as 12,094. That's the low from the August 29th weekly profile. And then we've got a nice little zone created between 124 and 140. And of course, 140 is that September 19th weekly high. So in a nutshell, if we can move and hold above 876, look for a move to 12K. 12.1K if we can move and get acceptance above 12,000, and then very likely into this 12,140 and then 218 area if we continue to see upside pressure as the week progresses. Now, I will show you guys this as well. I'm going to pop over to the NQ weekly profile, and you guys can see what I am looking at here. We've got a pretty strong downtrend line that lines up right around the middle of the opportunity zone, around 12,423. Now, we have confirmed a weekly low, not only right here, but you could consider this a slightly higher low confirmed on the weekly as well. We have the weekly stochastic oscillators, the Z cubed from our proprietary indicator package, curling and crossing to the upside, indicating that the probability at the moment as it stands is looking to further upside. Now, obviously, we've got some levels to work through, first and foremost, but I would be looking, if we get continuation to the upside, for a move overall towards that 12,400 level, which is right in the middle of the opportunity zone, and that is where this probe or trend line is leading us right there. So I would be looking, yeah, it's right around 12.4K even, and that is where I'm going to be looking until or unless we get some pretty serious downside pressure to start breaking some of these levels. Now I'll move over to the daily chart and show you guys this as well. Daily chart also has a higher low confirmed. We actually have a 3-step shift confirmed, which is bullish divergence and then a higher low. That is a high probability reversal signature. So the oscillators are pointing towards more upside. So first and foremost, I would be looking at this area right here. That's that 12.2 area. Lots of confluence with that naked point of control on the weekly that we were looking at right here, 12.218, right? So a lot of things are pointing for further upside continuation, and we will be able to see very soon whether or not we continue that, and anything closing daily candle wise below the low of our prior daily, which would be 11,569, that would confirm a local top. So if we get a local top confirmed on the daily, perhaps some further downside pressure back into the 11.2 level. But one step at a time, I think, is most important. And right now, the market is showing us upside. Same thing with the ES weekly and daily, very, very similar. One thing that I want to point out between ES and NQ is that ES is already inside of the opportunity zone, and the oscillators are just now curling and crossing to the upside. So we'll look at ES in just a minute here from a profile perspective, but I wanted to point that out, that ES could be leading us further into some upside on the weekly chart. And let me just be clear here. So I'll pop back and forth between the weekly here. You can see NQ has not entered the op zone yet on the weekly. ES is well inside the op zone already. So looking for more upside until or unless something substantial on one of these higher time frames says otherwise. So let's head on back to the market profile. And one thing that I will point out to you guys as well is that we do have this high volume node here on the monthly volume composite at 11.3. So downside on a much larger scale, I would be looking for a move towards this area. You can see we've got some major levels here. We've got the value area low from the October 24th weekly profile. We also have the POC from the September 26th weekly profile right around here. And we've got some other levels such as value area, the initial balance from 1031, the October Halloween weekly profile, if you will, right in that area. So there's some good confluence, but of course we've got some important levels to work through on the downside to see a move to 11.3. So let's go over to ES. You guys will see that it is a very, very similar situation as usual. Going to be looking at Friday's value high, the overnight high at 39.97 from Thursday into Friday, as well as Friday's high at 4,009.75. So that is going to be my major line in the sand level moving forward, is last week's high, basically, which is at 4,009. So I'll pop over to the ES weekly here, and you can see that, of course, 4,009, that is our weekly high from last week's session. We've got 4,014, which is the value area high from the September 5th regular trading hours weekly profile. We've got 431, that's the value area high from the prior week, August 29th. And then we've got 4,060, that is the low from the August 22nd weekly profile. So once again, just to reiterate quickly here, move and hold above last week's high at 4,009 very likely gets us a retest of 414, first and foremost, only 5 points away from last week's high. 4031, 4060, and then we've got 4,081, which is the high from August 29th weekly profile. Then we've got 95, 4,095 to be exact, which is the weekly high from the September 5th weekly profile. And then you can see right above that, or not too far above that, we've got 4137, which is the September 12th weekly profile high, as well as the naked point of control, which is stemming from the August 22nd weekly profile. So that is where I'm looking. Ultimately, if we can get acceptance and hold above the high from last week, I'm really looking for a move into 4150. I don't think that's out of the question at all. If we get rejected from last week's high, very, very likely that we revisit 3930-ish for a test, which is last week's value high, the prior week's high, and then the prior week's high before that as well. So the October 24th session high is the same exact high as the Halloween weekly profile, the profile from October 31st, right? 39.24 and a quarter, same exact price. So price for 2 weeks could not move even one tick above that level. Now we have gotten acceptance above it from last week. And if we remain accepted above these levels, and especially get accepted above 4,009, look for a move overall towards this 41.50 level. But of course, pay attention to and look for trade opportunity into these areas first and foremost as well. Now, on the downside, once again, if we break 39.30, look for a move back into 38.84, 38.71. That's the value area high from the October 24th weekly profile. We also have the monthly volume composite point of control at 38.6875, which is right under that 71 level. Very, very good confluence there. So I would say ultimately, if you're looking for a larger move, if you see a break of 39.2425, look for pressure into 84 and then 38.70 basically. Of course, if we lose 38.70, I think it's very likely that we revisit 38.10, which is the point of control from last week, and another high volume node on the monthly volume composite profile. And of course, we have a naked POC on the downside as well at 36.95, but we've got a lot of work to do before we basically lose the entire week's profile from last week. So once again, I'll just pop over onto the main candlestick chart here and reiterate what I'm looking at on the weekly chart. We do indeed have a local low and continuation off of that local low with the oscillators curling and crossing to the upside on the weekly chart. I will go to the daily real quick as well. You can see the daily is well above the opportunity zone. We've actually put in a 3-step shift once again, with a higher low and then more higher lows, right? So it could be considered that we have already changed behavior on the daily. So keep that in mind. You know, if we get continuation, this 41.35 area on the candlestick chart, that's lining up very, very nicely with, you guessed it, naked POC up here. So as you guys should know, if you're watching a lot of my content, these naked point of controls, especially, act as magnets for price, right? If price pushes above a major level, you know, like last week's high or, you know, stacked value levels, for example, like we have here, right? We have 3 value area levels between 39.98 and 4,031, as well as this high. So once price pushes through a major area of liquidity, it essentially is in an area or areas of what I refer to as no man's land, right? Where there's not a lot of liquidity to hold price down. So price basically acts like a heat-seeking missile to the next area of dense liquidity where we are likely to get pushback or, you know, a larger reaction, which makes it more difficult for price to continue to push forward. And in my eyes, that level is going to be this 41.50 area, right? And you can see that once again, if I pop over here, 41.27, this is prior high. And then the wick from, let's see what day this is. This is September 13th. That is really where I'm looking. So I'm looking for a move if we don't get pushed back before then, all the way up to this 41.30, 41.50 area, which again is where that naked POC is. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it, my friends. I hope that you have a great start to your week. I hope that this information is valuable and it gives you a plan or if-then scenarios moving forward into this coming week. Likely a lot of volatility ahead of us, especially because we have changed behavior on the daily chart, and it's going to be very interesting to see if the bulls can continue that upside momentum or if we get some selling off right around last week's high. So keep an eye on the reaction to last week's high. That will offer up some great trade opportunity regardless of the direction or the reaction to that level. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment below. I always appreciate your guys' feedback on these videos. If you guys do enjoy this content, please feel free to like, subscribe, and click that bell notification as well to be notified every single time that we post videos here on the channel. If you guys want to learn more about what we do at the Trading Network, check out thetradingnetwork.io, where you can purchase access to the TTN Pro Trader bundle, which includes the Fundamentals of Futures Trading course, our proprietary indicator package, as well as lifetime access to our private Discord, where we stream live Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and it is a great place to develop and grow in your trading journey. Once again, thank you guys very much for taking the time to watch this content. I appreciate you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.